to Heartfelt Awakening Radio, Transformational Journeys to Spirit. If you are a returning listener, thank you. Welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome. We are all about transformational journeys to spirit, and we have a special guest today. Our guest is Stephanie Urbina Jones. Welcome, darling. How are you? But I am so excited to have you on the show. And just to let you know about Stephanie, she is the author of the book Shaman Heart, Turning Your Pain into Passion and Purpose. And she's got the book right there. Yes. So tell us about the book, darling. There's a
Well,
couple of authors, it looks like.
there is. This is amazing, amazing book. I'm so honored and proud of it. I was an author on another collective book called Sacred Death, where I shared the amazing story of my grandmother and me midwifing her from this world to the next. This amazing experience and what came of being there with her. And during that process of writing, I was so touched by the experience of writing a book with a collection of authors and with Brave Healer Productions that I had a vision, I had a dream like, oh my goodness, since I lead journeys in the pyramids of Teotihuacan, transformational journeys, how amazing would it be to take 26 authors into the pyramids of Teotihuacan, lead them with my husband, Jeremy Pager, a Freedom Folk and Soul, on a week-long adventure through this powerful vortex of transformation, and then for us to come back together and write a chapter each of how we in our life had turned our pain into passion and purpose. And so that was the inspiration. The publisher said yes, and on January the 5th of this year, in the midst of the pandemic, firestorms, snowstorms, canceled flights, 26 authors miraculously made it into this womb of creation and had this amazing journey together where we got really tight. And then we collectively wrote Shaman Heart, Turning Pain into Passion and Purpose. It came out just a few weeks ago and it went number one in 9 categories, bestseller on Amazon. So it's been a testimony, a journey of faith, an adventure of love and friendship, and a teaching for all of us that we can turn our pain, those things that hurt our heart the most, into passion and purpose to serve the world.
I love that you took your experience with your grandmother and assisting her in the birthing process, like you said, from this realm to the next. And I am a certified death doula, and that's pretty much what we do is assist that birthing process. But when you think of doula, we automatically think of the birthing of a child process, and yet we never really talk much about the other end of the spectrum and helping someone and guide them through that birthing process. Can you share more of your experience with that?
I can, and let me just say thank you for what you do. Thank you. It is the holy of the holy, really. And I say this a lot. It was similar to the same experience that I had having my daughter Zeta. It was that kind of elation. My grandmother called me. I was writing songs in Nashville at the time. I'm a songwriter and a recording artist. And she called me and she'd been talking about dying for a long time. As people, they know when that time is coming often. But this one day she called and she says, Mija, which means little girl, she says, I'm dying. And so I knew, my spirit knew it was called to attention. And so I flew to her bedside in San Antonio and I was there with her, midwifing her between this world and the next. And she would be talking to my grandfather on the other side, and she'd be talking to me back and forth. And then right before she passed, she came to me and she said, Mija, you're going to be a mensajera. You are going to be sharing our culture, Mexican American, and she said this. She said, country music with chili peppers all over the world, And at the time, I was like, I can't, Grandma. It's like, I can't. All the reasons why I'm not good enough for that. But when a dying woman and is in that transcendent moment, and I'm sure since you are a death doula, this portal between life and death and new life. Um, so profound. I was there as she took her last breath. It was like birthing a child. Her breathing became labored, and then one last breath. I said, "Here we go, Grandma," and I watched her spirit leave her body, and I felt elation, jubilation in my body. So strange to feel this joy when the person that I loved the most was leaving. And of course, I grieved after that. But in that moment, our spirits had this most profound experience. And I share it in every writing that I write about, in every show that I sing. I share that story to give people hope and to invite them to, if they can, be present with their loved ones at this most profound birth, death time.
I love that your grandmother told you about, first of all, becoming this shaman experience and then saying country music with chili peppers. I could totally get that. I mean, it was just profoundly awesome. And I too was with my grandmother when she passed. And I wasn't a certified death doula at the time, but what I got permission to do was cranial sacral therapy as she was transitioning, and they had to pull the plug, so to speak. So everybody was in the room, and it was so profound. And you mentioned the joy of it, and people listening might think, how is there any joy in death? You know, and just as there's that feeling. I mean, it's indescribable when you're first holding your daughter for the first time. And when it's the same joy, if you allow yourself, because it really helps with the grieving process when you're able to experience it. If you allow yourself to feel the joy, it's profound. So that is fantastic. I wanted to ask you a question. You mentioned faith. Can you share with us your journey of faith to get to where you are right now?
Well, as I was leaving San Antonio, I had this is prior to her putting a mission on my heart as a recording artist and then as a teacher, in this world to teach these indigenous ways from Mexico as a shaman. But prior to that, I was longing for direction. And my great grandfather, in one of these healing ways that I teach and lead through a breathwork ceremony, um, my great grandfather, who had crossed the border in 1907, he crossed the border in pursuit of his religious freedom. And he went from being a Catholic and he was going to be a priest to becoming a Baptist minister. And so, as I was coming to Nashville and I was in this breathwork process, I had a vision again of him calling me forward, and there are so many crossroad moments in my life, in my career. One day I was coming home from the Spirit of Christmas tour where I, go sing every year to probably 200 elderly people in nursing homes. And I get this message on Facebook from this random person saying, "I think that Craig and Blank are singing your song on TV." And I'm like, "Who's that?" And it was Blake Shelton, who had had a song on hold 15 years before, had held this song, and when he was coaching Craig Wayne Boyd on The Voice on this night, he gave it to him. Craig Wayne Boyd, after listening to thousands of songs and being a writer himself, took that song and recorded it and sang it and won The Voice. And on Christmas Eve, 5 years ago, that song went #1 on Billboard. You can't make that up. And of course, it was at a crossroad moment in my life where I was like going, is it time for me to turn my attention in a different direction with my life? Am I spending too much time on this versus, being with my daughter or whatever? But every time, magic, cosmic breadcrumbs, very clearly something, call it God, call it magic, call it the great mystery, leads and guides my heart where it needs to go.
I love those cosmic breadcrumbs. That is fantastic. You mentioned something in your bio where it says you are a visionary seer and regularly walk between the worlds. Tell us about that.
I've learned to trust my intuition. I've learned to trust my heart. It's taken me a long time because the dreams that I've had in my heart since I was 4 seemed crazy. And I've been called a crazy dreamer. But anytime I follow that intuition and that knowing, for me, I'm walking between the worlds. And I've learned to hold a tremendous vision of faith. Again, whether it's taking a loan out for something or going down this road or saying yes to this person that would seem so like, why would you do that? Because my heart knows, my intuition knows. And to me, I am connected still to my grandmother. I absolutely believe that our ancestors are there guiding us if we are, if our heart is clear enough to hear and to listen. And then uh, strong enough to take those leaps of faith.
A leap of faith. Yes, exactly. And sometimes it's like, I don't know, I'm doing this, and here I go doing this, and there I am doing this, and I don't know how I'm doing this. And yet there's that faith of a foundation holding you as you're taking that leap of faith. That is fantastic. So you bring out that full tilt boogie. She is living her dreams full tilt boogie every day. I love that. Working on songs, albums, tours. So tell us, darling, with all of these things going on and the book coming out, what does the future look like for you?
Well, I finally, finally believe in the dreams that she held in her heart. And finally, it's taken me, I'm 53, it's taken me all this time to finally believe in the little dreamer in me and feel that those dreams were worthy of sharing and were worthy that they would touch and bring life and faith to others. And so it's this profound moment of carrying this younger part of myself forward, the little dreamer, and this wise woman who has lived and knows. And so I'm moving with that energy into creating shows. One show I'm creating with the Nashville Symphony is honoring the ancestors of music with the Nashville Symphony and honky tonk mariachis as a storyteller, as a singer. So that's amazing explosion of cultures. I want to tour that all over the world. I want to write a Broadway musical, Manuel's Destiny, which is the album that I just finished recording that we're shopping to labels and booking agents. And I just want to share this explosion of stories and music and books and teachings of faith and love and inspiration with the world in all ways. So that's what it looks like.
That's a beautiful vision and a dream, and that is slowly becoming a reality. You know, as we dream, the dreamer, and being a powerful dreamer and engaging that creativity and imagination with dreaming, whoa, the manifestations that you can create. I mean, you very busy little dreamer, you. Yeah, it's fantastic to be able to discover this power that we have as human beings. You know, you talk about questioning yourself, and that's the human part of us, the limited part of us. But as a dreamer, that's a shift into this larger unseen possibility. Fan freaking tastic. So I want to share with the listeners, I'm going to be leaving some information in the description about the book. And the book of, it's called Shaman Heart, Turning Your Pain into Passion and Purpose. Absolutely fantastic. It has become #1 bestseller in 9 categories on Amazon. Good on you. That is fantastic. And tell me, darling, you're enjoying your life more now, more than ever. What does that mean to you right now?
It means that, to be honest, and this comes back to the book, is that my own trauma that I experienced as a child, my own unworthiness in those stories used to be giant boulders in the road, and I could not create. I could dream, but I couldn't bring those dreams to life. And so, what is so exciting is to be living that truth that was only an idea before, which is that if we go into the darkness, if we go into the pain, and we find a sacred witness, someone to walk with us, that we can go back into that which has hurt us the most, we can honor it and release the pain, and in its place is left this presence, this grace, this knowing, this wisdom, and this love. And from that place, we can no longer be hurt. We're held by the great mystery of life. So that is what is so exciting. And each of these stories in this book is a witness to something, sometimes really a simple story of something that happened with someone that was, a transcendent moment. And some are horrific experiences that you can't imagine someone would live through. And not only did they live through it, they turned it into, as we call it, their medicine, as powerful medicine men and women carrying their passion and their purpose with other people.
Amen. I love that. So transform your unworthiness, your pain, your bad experiences, if you will, to country music with chili peppers.
Right.
This
So
is fantastic. I want to thank you for being a guest on Heartfelt Awakening Radio. And I will be leaving the information on how listeners can, catch up on you. We have all of your connections to social media, so we'll make sure we leave those. And again, I want to thank you, Stephanie, for being on this journey with me. And you know what? Never stop being amazing.
those seeds in your heart are divine, and they're made for you to water and to harvest the dreams that are possible. So everybody check out shamanheart.org, because all the authors, you can get connected to all of them there, and you can check and follow me on the road at stephanieurbinajones.com.
Awesome. And be safe on the road this summer. Good luck to you and have fun. It sounds amazing. Awesome.